So how do you apply some of those lessons now to your full time, which is training and, whether it be virtually or, obviously before in person, and kind of some of the other stuff that you're doing. How do you apply that love for risk? Because that's something that I'm a huge proponent of as well. You gotta take some risks. You gotta mess around.
Yeah.
You have to fail to figure out what works.
Yeah. Um, for me, you know, a lot of it is just based off of embracing the suck is something that we always say.
I
Like,
like that.
no matter what it is, when you're starting something new, and like I'm a big advocate, like I've loved this, haven't loved it, but this quarantine time has been a challenge. And I feel like one of the biggest problems with today's society is we just are complacent with a lot. And if you're winning, you get complacent with like going through, the equation of like, okay, this is what I'm going to do every time. And this really helped me kind of get out of that rut, that positive rut of, like, oh, it's working, everything we're doing is working. And it gave me an opportunity. Like, okay, you know what? Quarantine hits, we have to be out of the gym for X amount of time. Like, let's work on those things, my weaknesses. Like, let's go back to the things that I've maybe been pushing off because they've been challenging and I haven't wanted to fail with it. And I don't want to put risk in, and an investment into certain avenues, even though I know they're going to, exponentially help me if I can build them the right way. So this helped me go digital with a lot of our training content, and that the whole situation, the whole quarantine situation allowed me to just dive in,
Hmm.
not worry about the risk, but really just focus on embracing the moment, embracing the suck, and learn on the fly with a lot of the things. And now it's like not a well-oiled machine, but I've learned so much over the last 4 months about the digital space and like growing our platforms. Like our YouTube platform, which I always thought as being like one of my Achilles heel, ended up going from like 14,000 to almost 100,000 followers, and now generating almost $14,000 a month in income, for my business without even batting an eye. Just because I decided like, hey, let's have this switch and this paradigm shift in like the way that I handle my business or the way that I handle my content and doing all this stuff. And a lot of it, like, to bring in kind of like our connecting piece, a lot of it stemmed from, you know, my love for, listening to Gary Vee stuff and
Love
like
it.
understanding how to, create content and monetize off of pillar content and like all these different little things that I never really like. I just didn't take the risk in and put myself in that position to fail. So gave me the opportunity to really kind of dive into it head first.
Makes sense. It's funny, man. I think the people that win the best are those when they're given any adverse situation or any time to actually think about it. How do they make things more efficient? So like
Mm-hmm.
you took that time, especially on the front end of quarantine, and started thinking, how do I make this more efficient? Also, how do I make it work? Because things are taken away. So you went digital with everything. Even myself, and I could speak to this a little bit as well, for Hoops Nation, which is the basketball platform that I started. I did everything myself because I believe for the longest time that doing things yourself is always better because you don't have to call to anybody. You don't have to, you don't have to do anything. You just you do it. You do it,
Yeah.
and that's it. I realized that it takes a toll doing everything yourself. So I built out a team at the beginning of quarantine, first, you know, time I'd ever even done that. And it's better. I never, if you told me in February that would have been my move, I would have told you were crazy.
Preach, my man. That is literally, it sounds like me. That
Did,
sounds exactly like me. That's so,
did you
so
do
important.
everything yourself too?
I wore every hat,
Yeah, me too.
every freaking hat, because I
Yeah.
just thought nobody else could do it. And a lot of it is pride. Like, you build something, and I'm sure you can attest to it.
Yeah.
Basketball players and trainers have this is like a huge crutch. Like, very prideful in our clients and the way we run business and the way that we, market ourselves. And when you see how far you've come, the last thing like I wanted to do was just hand any bit of it off, because I thought, no, there's no way anybody understands like how I speak or how I can do this. So I would literally just put everything on me, stay up till 3, doing all this stuff, wait for my kids to go to bed and put in more work. And beginning of quarantine, you realize like, okay, I need an assistant. I need like somebody who can manage my content calendar, like all the stuff. And it has helped grow my business exponentially.
You know what the funniest part is too? Like you go from thinking that nobody can do the job that you do, and then all of a sudden everybody's better at what you do than you.
Yeah,
And that's the best position to be
dude,
in. Literally,
that
the
is,
guys who are
man.
helping me are 5 times better than I am. And I've
Way
been doing it
better.
for 10 times longer than they had. I'm like, it makes you realize you're not that special and you need people who are better than you to help you. And
Yeah.
that's what I feel.